All righty. Good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, depending on when you are in the world. I'm Yulkendi Valdez, Grow with Google coach, dialing in from Brooklyn, New York. And today I'm joined by a fantastic panel of really my role models, mentors, and fellow Dominicanas. I'm keeping the celebration going. We just had the Dominican parade here in New York. Really proud of our culture. I think is National Caribbean Month, and just bringing light music, dance to this work. I know a lot is going on in the world, and I just appreciate how you all are investing in yourself. This AI noise is all around us, but the reason we host this is to really make it practical for you. And what better than to have experts who can share best practices from on the ground. And as always, if you attended previous ones, we wrap up with an actionable Grow with Google workshop with the latest on Google AI to help you maximize productivity. So make sure you stay for that so you're able to put to action some of the tidbits the panelists will be sharing on. And as always, we'll be answering questions throughout the chat. I'll be backstage for the beginning, but if you already have questions for me or the panelists, go ahead or also share thoughts. We want you to be part of the conversation, how you're using AI, what's working for you, what's not. We want to hear from you. Tell us about your work. Always be selling. That's what I say. So without further ado, Anabelle, I'm going to pass it on to you, who's an amazing community leader over an organization I'm proud to be part of, Kelotech, but also does amazing work around the tech sector. So really happy to have her moderate this panel. Annabelle, take it away.
Thank you, Jude Kendi, and thank you for creating this space for these amazing leaders to be able to share their insights and just for everybody to be able to gain a little bit of knowledge during their day. And thank you to everybody that's taking the time to uh, just add a little bit of nugget of wisdom to their day while they're eating their lunch. Before we get started deep diving on the questions, I just wanted to give a chance for each of our panelists to introduce themselves. I'll just go in the order that my screen is in. I'll start with Enna. If you can go ahead and give us a brief introduction of your background and why you're happy to join us today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Anabelle. It's so great to be here with all of you. I can't wait for this conversation. So a little bit about me. Also Dominicana. Well, I was born in Puerto Rico. My parents from the Dominican Republic. I live in Boston. And I've spent literally over 30 years leading through change in corporate world. I've worked in different kinds of companies, different industries, financial services, banking, education, product companies, really focus on quality assurance and organizational transformation. And so a few years ago, I transitioned and pivoted out of corporate America into running my own business, EJ Consulting Group, where I'm really focused on helping nonprofit organizations do development consulting. So basically helping them grow their fundraising and their capacity, as well as, coaching mid to senior career women and entrepreneurs on their leadership and their executive presence. I am also a co-author of Extraordinary Latinas, Powerful Voices of Resilience, Courage, and Empowerment. It is a book with 11 other fabulous women. I was part of the first edition of this book, and I think they're up to like book version number 5 now. But, when I think of everything that I do, it really just comes back to one thing, which is helping people build the confidence and the systems that they need to live without burnout and to try to minimize the chaos in our world. So super excited about this conversation today.
Thank you. And we'll go to Coach Dora.
Hi, everybody. How are you? Enna, turns out I'm in volume 4 of Extraordinary Latinas.
Nice.
I'm happy to finally get to meet all of you. Angelica, Anabelle, I answered Yukendi's call today because I do not know how anyone can run a small business without AI today. I just do not know. And so it has made such a difference as a solopreneur in my life. So I just quickly wanted to share that that's the main reason why I'm here. I want to continue to share. Kendi said always be selling. and I'm all about always be serving. And
Mm.
so I want to share with other entrepreneurs how much AI has helped me. There are pros and cons, uh, but the pros outweigh the cons. And so my business, I'm Dora Mendez. My business is Coach Dora LLC, and I do career coaching and human resources consulting. And I work with small nonprofit organizations and other small organizations that don't need a full-time HR staff, team. And so I come in and I help develop strategy, and I do that with a inclusionary leadership lens. And when I started my business, it was very, very scary to go from the safety and security of a large organization. But as an Afro Latina, making my way up to the C suite, I just got tired of the disrespect. And I just wanted to be, I had the expertise, I had the experience, and I was tired of being doubted and challenged and undervalued. So I said, I'm going to value myself and do what I know I can do best to help others. And I continue serving and, yes, selling. And so I'm really happy to be here with you today and share the little bit that I know. And I hope that it will help others.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Now we have to go to Angelina.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So happy to be here today and so honored to be amongst so many lovely women, lovely Dominicanas. I was born and raised in Queens, New York, but my family's from Santiago, from Licey, from La Chiva, a little tiny town that, I just love to visit when I go back to DR. So a little bit about me. I have an MBA in marketing that I received 25 years ago, so I'm aging myself. I worked in corporate for 10 years, brands like Pepsi, American Express, and Marlboro, and I hated it. I thought that I was being brave by switching companies, but in the end, at that 10-year mark, I realized corporate and I are just not friends. And that's okay. I learned so much. I got a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge, but I didn't fit in. So I did a 180. And I became the executive director of a tiny nonprofit in Washington Heights, New York, helping 3,000 small businesses, advocating for them, also doing a lot of teaching. So I feel like I've been teaching and coaching now for 15 years. That experience at the nonprofit was amazing because that's where I learned about MWBEs. Those are certifications for minorities and women, helping them get corporate and government contracts. And actually, that's what I do today with Connect SBE. It's actually a platform that I launched unofficially 5 months ago, officially like 3 weeks ago. But in essence, imagine LinkedIn and Yelp, but for small businesses, helping them get contracts, helping them to connect, and helping them to get inspired. And so I also coach businesses, especially, small businesses, minority and women-owned businesses, about certifications, what they are, how they work, and how to use marketing and outreach to use those certifications to get contracts. So again, I'm so happy and excited to be here and to talk about how I use AI to train my clients on how to get contracts.
Amazing. We are surrounded by the best of the best, it seems. And on top of that, we all have good hearts. I think that comes from our Dominican culture of always wanting to lift each other up, bring our people up with us. And you guys are definitely a representation of that being done. So another thing that we all have in common is having been in the corporate world. I'm just entering the corporate world, so I got to share my story later on. But you all have been in the corporate world for a while and have taken those learnings from that time and brought it over to your coaching, your consulting, your small businesses, and are helping other small businesses thrive. So can you talk about what was one of the main things that you took from your time in corporate that you have been implementing with your businesses? And we can start with you again, Angelina.
Sure.
I'm sorry, with me, Enna, or with Angelina?
I said Angelina, sorry. I'm going backwards now.
Yeah. So So, it's interesting is when I worked in corporate, I did brand management, but I also did client management. And some of these clients included Sony, Office Depot, to name a few. And, those clients were big and required a lot of hand holding. And, I really didn't have the ability to say yes or no when it comes to working with those clients because I was in corporate and I had to work with them. And it was such great learnings because whether your client is 10,000, is a big global client with 10,000 businesses or a small, business with 3 clients, the need is the same. It's to be strategic, it's to handhold them, and it's to provide them with the guidance that they need because whether big or small, the same problems emerge. And I imagine Enna's going to talk a little bit about that when it comes to change management and even Dora when it comes to HR. The issues and the problems are the same. Maybe the scale is a little different, but the challenges are the same. And so using frameworks is where I always start. Again, whether it's a big client or small client, frameworks and explaining the frameworks, especially when it comes to marketing, outreach, and AI. I think a lot of times we make assumptions about what people know and what they don't know. And I always start with laying down the foundations of what marketing is, of walking them through the process, of having timelines and of, just putting everything, documenting everything. So for me, I as much as corporate, big, small business, small, I see my clients with the same lens of challenges, needs, needing frameworks, needing strategy, and really hand holding them throughout the entire process. So that's how I would answer this question.
Exactly, perfect. And I would say that also applies what you said about you never know where people are starting about the AI learning journey. So something that I have to deal with in my role as AI enablement lead is trying to figure out how we can deliver that knowledge to our workforce, while not making them bored when they're getting started, but also, not challenging them too much so they're scared away from using those tools. So perfect. Now we're going to go to Coach Dora.
Hi. So, Angelina, thank you for starting us off. I do want to just say that I was never in corporate America. I worked at large multi-service nonprofit and philanthropic organizations. And that's where I spent most of my career. I started in law enforcement, and then I took that doing employment discrimination complaints, and I took all that expertise, went back and got my master's, and then I took all that employment law knowledge and then applied it to HR, which I love. I love people and culture. I love engaging with people. And so how a lot of people don't realize that AI in any organization really became embedded in many of the HRIS systems that are used, for timekeeping, payroll, applicant tracking. So AI really started, embedded in many of the systems that we use at work, finance systems, project management systems. It was just really the explosion of Gen AI that really changed everything because it became so accessible. It wasn't like an exclusive closed system. Everyone had access to it. So one of my roles in HR was really to help set policy, make sure that AI is used ethically and responsibly. And I'm always continuously learning and improving. So I'm always trying to soak up as much information as possible to help support people do their work and bring the best out of people. So I was really an early adopter of how to use it ethically and responsibly. So there are pros and cons. So when I went out on my own, I honestly don't know how people did it before AI. The automation, the efficiency, and now with agentic AI. So I'm really glad to hear that there's going to be a live demonstration later on. And so that's, I also agree with Angelina beginning with frameworks. One of the important frameworks that I use is I go from SMART to SMARTY. So SMART, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound, and then we add the inclusive and equitable. And so goal setting and working with people to be collaborative about setting goals, and we applied it to how we're going to implement AI policy. And so that's one of the frameworks that I use, and I use that with my students. I teach as well. I teach management and business management at a local college here in New York. And I start with my students with frameworks, and I started learning through faculty development how to embed AI in how we teach to make sure students are still critically thinking. That AI is really a tool to enhance, not to think for you or do for you, but to enhance and help you just be more effective and efficient. And so I know there's going to be live demo more on how to do that. And we can have a whole hour just on AI prompting and engineering. But in this short time, I just want to not discourage people from having fear of trying. And I'm really glad that we're doing this to help support people and give people permission to try.
Beautiful, thank you. Now we're going to go to Enna.
Absolutely. Thanks, Anabelle, for the question. And yes, just like my fellow panelists here saying, I spent literally 35 years in corporate America. And so I started off as an intern in quality assurance and moved my way up to vice president, leading a 200-person global team, and then helping organizations do engineering transformation. And in that process, framework and structure was absolutely key. But something that embedded in my everyday work was this concept called shift left testing. And this is something that's a techie term, but it's something that really led a lot of my projects, right? It's like, how can we catch a defect sooner, earlier, faster in the process? And the concept is that the earlier you catch a defect, the cheaper and easier it is to fix it. And so when you think about that, you can kind of relate that as well to the entrepreneurship world and leadership. Basically, the earlier you invest in your people, the earlier you put structure in place, the less it will cost you later, whether it's because of missed deadlines, turnover, or bottlenecks. There's always something that comes up later down the line. And so the opportunity that you have to think about quality early in the process. Think about the people in your team. Think about what framework and structure you've embedded into the process, how you've documented those processes. It will actually make that process later much more easier, and it will allow you to see some of the issues that that inevitably always come up in projects. So I think that for me, that's been the biggest lesson, right? Just sort of how do you think about things early on, and how do you capture those processes? When you think about, I think when I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, they're like, oh, process, we can't be bothered with process right now. We just got to get the work done. But the problem is that if you don't create that process, if you don't create that structure, you're just not going to know what things can happen and how it can really throw you in for a loop. You're not going to be able to know how to delegate the work because nothing is documented. And it then makes it so that that owner can't really step out of the daily grind, which, as we know, burnout is real. Whether you're in corporate America or whether you're a small business, burnout is absolutely real. And so how do you avoid some of that? You avoid it by embedding process, creating framework, in order to try to get a rhythm going earlier in your process. And this will allow you to sort of small issues don't have the opportunity or the chance to really become big, expensive ones down the line. So that's been some of my lesson learned.
Exactly. Definitely agree with that. And kind of helps us segue into the next question. A lot of small business owners, they tend to get caught in the operational side of things, especially if you come from that background. I come from that background, so it's very easy to just be like, go, 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 one thing to the other, and not so much forward vision and trying to, again, prevent those small problems for popping up and, taking so much of your day. So how do you, in each of your consulting lenses, how do you guide your small business owners to be able to view things from that lens, from that more strategic and long vision lens of how they can avoid some things or make some changes in the way that they operate to be able to, operate more efficiently, burn out less, and be able to be better leaders and focus more on leadership than operation? So we can start with Angelina this time. Oh, wait, I think we did it again.
You're on mute.
Sorry, apologies. You'd like me to start again?
Yes. I'll switch it up next time, I swear.
Yeah, no problem. No problem at all. So I'm going to say something that is an oldie but a goodie. So a couple of months ago, I was asked to do a lunch and learn on business plans, and I discovered something about a business plan. There's only 2 times that people think about a business plan. One, when they want to start a business and then they never finish it. Or 2, when they have to go for funding to a bank and the bank requires a business plan. But I'm going to tell you something. This is what I tell people. Imagine your business is a book, okay, with chapters. Every chapter should be your business plan, because a business plan is very strategic. A business plan not only has HR, who is, part of your team currently and who you have to hire or who you have to get rid of. It also has operations, it has sales, it has marketing. And if every year you are updating your business plan as a chapter in your book, then you can look back. Okay, last year in this business plan, I said I was going to do ABC. These were the results. You know what? A worked, B did not. I will not do that again. And then it forces you to really assess. When I was in corporate, I'm going to just mention this a sec. Every summer we would do annual operating plan. Why? Because we were prepping for the following year. And so our summers were kind of sucky in that we had to get data and had to do questionnaires and focus groups, etc. In the fall, we were presenting it to leadership. And by November, December, we had a plan that we would activate in January. I tell my small businesses, do a business plan. Have your plan every year, because then you can revisit it, right? Also, it keeps you on track. You should actually look at it every quarter to determine, okay, what are my goals for this quarter? Okay, I was going to implement ABC. Did I? No. Okay, that's great. I'll move that to the next quarter. But it's just great because it keeps you on track. And especially as the Virgo that I am, it also is a document where you have your frameworks, your operations, your goals. That's generally how I tell my clients. That's a wonderful way of keeping them on track. Updating their business plan and having that be a chapter of the book of their business.
I love that.
I think I'm going to take that as well. I like that.
That's great.
All right, I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to go with Enna now. You're both excited, but I'm like, let me switch the order up.
No, absolutely. That's a really good one, Angelina. So thank you for that one. I'll be quick. I think the most important thing is really to have people assess where are the bottlenecks, right? And you don't always know where the bottlenecks are because you're just running. And so I asked them, for 1 week, just write everything down. Write everything, whether you're doing in a voicemail, tell me everything, all the tasks, everything that you're doing. And then when you come back, evaluate, and then ask the questions, where is your time going? And is the task and the work that you're doing something that only you can do? And can any of these steps be automated, right? And can it be delegated to someone else? So those are sort of, again, when I put on my QA hat, right, those are the things that I think about. And it also applies to business owners, right, which is looking for repeated fires, looking for problems that keep showing up, and identifying whether, is this a people problem or is this a process gap? And I think those are the things that you can do fairly quickly and a couple of weeks to be able to establish what is that pattern that's happening, and then try to target and then create, implement, and address a solution for it.
two quick things. I agree with both Enna and Angelina. One, invest in some kind of CRM. No matter what kind of business you have, invest in some kind of CRM so you can organize and automate things and just invest in it. Whether it's HubSpot, Go High Level, whatever business you're in, invest in a client relationship management. I forget what CRM stands for, but invest in one. That's going to be huge. Two, I would say get support. When you're a small business, connect with, Connect SBE, connect with other small business owners, whether it's your chamber of commerce, whether it's other owners, whatever field you're in, connect with others because it's very lonely. It can be lonely at the top. And it's nice to know that you're not alone and that you have the support. And then also you can learn from others. You have sort of like your unofficial board of directors that are helping you with your decision making. So those are the two things I would say. Invest in a system, a CRM. Most of them all have AI embedded in them. And so that will help you track. It'll help you make decisions. It'll just help you be faster, not lose things. And then the other is seek support. Join some kind of group to connect with others.
Beautiful. And we're running out of time, but I wanted to make sure people got some takeaway from this panel. So I'm going to wing it here. So I apologize in advance. But whoever wants to go first, what is one word or one sentence you can say to any small business owner that will help them continue being strategic and seeing from a strategic lens moving forward after this lunch and learn?
I'll say something quickly. For me, it's pick 1 to 3 priorities and say no to everything else. It is critical to focus, and focusing beats a long list every single time. And then don't wait for the perfect version of anything. Execute the 80% version now. We will always refine it and you make it better as you go.
Agreed. Move with imperfect action.
I'm just going to echo these ladies because I learned this the hard way with Connect SBE. Does not have to be perfect. Just do it and then fix it. So yes, all of the things.
So self-proclaimed perfectionist, recovering, and Leo and all of the above. That definitely resonates. Thank you so much. You have been very inspirational to, I'm sure, the entire audience, definitely myself, which I'm starting my journey in corporate and navigating my own small business with our Kelotech community. Thank you, Yokendi, for, again, creating this space, and I'm going to pass it back to you.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I could listen to this panel all day. So we got to make sure to share all the resources. I put a lot of information on Extraordinary Latinas. I know Angelina has also a ton of resources with all the work she does with small business owners around contract certification. So we're going to keep an open line of communication. Reach out to us if you have more questions for the panel. We'll make sure to get you answers. And you're in for a treat. Enna is actually staying with me for the second part as we do the Grow with Google workshop. So get ready for some live demos where you can actually put some of these frameworks to the test. Have a great rest of your day. Anabelle, thank you for moderating. And Angelina, see you soon.
Thank
All
you.
right. Enna, let's have Enna back up. And then I'm going to start presenting my screen as well. If we can show it.
It's going to be a great lesson, not just for our audience, but myself as well, because, you can never stop learning. So I'm super excited about this.
Awesome. All right. Can you see my screen, Enna?
Yes, I can see it.
All right. So again, we hear AI, 100,000 times a week. It's at this point, it's every hour, it's all the buzz. But what matters the most is that you are in the driving seat. You have control. You choose how you want to use it, how you want to interact with it, and where you want to prioritize it. And as we talked about in the panel, is less about being reactive and is a thing that you quickly use to help you with your emails or things like that. That's all fun. But the magic is when you turn these tools into a system that really works for you and your business. And that's what we're going to talk about today. For those that joined late in the live stream, my name is Julkendi Valdez, and I'm the Northeast coach with Grow with Google, which means I spend a lot of time with small business owners trying to think through how to use AI to save time and money, because yeah, we weren't supposed to be in our screens all day looking at numbers, looking at proposals, grants. We're supposed to be creating amazing products and services, building relationships, being out the field. That's essentially what we do well as humans. And this is a tool to help us do that. And I'm not just talking at you, I'm also a business owner. I am building a technology company called Healers Health. We help youth and families enroll in vital services and programs around food and housing to sports and the arts. So really happy to also learn from you. I'm taking notes from the comments. I also learn a lot from the panelists today that I will be implementing. I want to hear from you all in the chat. What are you currently using AI for? What are you thinking but have been scared or just don't know how to set up? I'll make sure to look at the comments, and if I don't get to it today, I'm happy to follow up after the live streams and get you some resources, or again, share what you share with others, because AI has been around since the 1950s, but it's a new experiment from all of us, where finally the results of all that work is now put in front of us, and no one is expected to have it right now. But the way to do it is to not gatekeep. We got to share the best prompts, the best tools with one another, so we can all make our lives and work a bit easier. So today, quick agenda for the remaining 30 minutes. We're going to review some Google's frameworks on prompting. Again, the AI can't read our minds yet. We might be getting there. There's, as you know, Google is putting a lot of exciting things every week. So definitely check out Grow with Google's YouTube if you want the latest. Continue to come with this coaching. But right now it's not there yet. And also Google believes in you being the human in the loop. You want to make sure you are prompting it around what your tasks are, what you need. So if you don't give it as much context, if you don't tell it what to do, you're not going to get the best results. So I'm going to review Google's framework around prompting, and then we're going to get into fun demos around how do you actually use Google's AI tool like Gemini, the personal AI assistant, to build your own custom assistants. They're called gems. We're going to talk about Workspace Studio, which I know, Enna, you were excited for because you want to figure out what to do around all the emails you get. And I know you're in demand. You also give back. So it's about how do we stay productive, organized around our top goals. And Workspace Studio is an amazing tool that Google has around automating within the Google Suite. And I'm going to share that for all of you today. And then we're also going to quickly talk about Gemini Notebook. I love putting people in front of the notebook product that Google has. It's just amazing. It's a note-taking and researching tool. And what's fantastic about it is that you are definitely in control, because how Notebook works is that it uses your own sources. So your own business plans, your standard operating procedures, the articles, the webinars, and you're able to do amazing things around those resources, like create presentations, audio podcasts. You can even talk to the AI around your content. So stay tuned. And then Rome wasn't built in one day. I also have some amazing links from you, how you can take Grow with Google certificates if you're interested in this type of content. Now, jumping in, I want to hear from the folks that are watching live and later on the recording, how many of you are using Gemini, how you're using it. Gemini is amazing, is the latest and the best of the family of Google's large language models. So it has a lot of amazing data baked in. And the amazing thing is that it works across the Google ecosystem, you know, well, like your Gmail or your Google Docs. So you can trust it comes with the security of those tools that you already use. It's also really cool because it's multimodal. I'm sure that's a term you're using and you're hearing across all the AI sessions that you've been attending. And that's because, again, AI was built in the 1950s, simulating the human brains and also how we think and operate, which is across multiple senses, right? We're not only just chatting and typing away with our site. We're also hearing. So for example, a great example, multimodal at its best. I'm using AI when I go to big conferences or even sessions like this, and you record it, you use a note taker, and then you go to Gemini and you're able to synthesize those takeaways. Or if you're a pen and paper person, you can. I love it. I'm a sticky notes type of person. You can now take a picture of your sticky note and your notes from a big meeting, or if you're even from your personal life organizing a recipe, taking picture of your cabinet, what's in your fridge, and Gemini can help you create a custom recipe based on those notes. So that's the magic of multimodal, that it works across text, across videos, across images and code. So if you're only using Gemini as a chatbot, you're missing out on most of its capability, which is something that I want to hone in. So please continue to try out more of his multimodal capabilities. As I mentioned, Gemini is not just a separate tab that you go to. It's everywhere within the Google ecosystem. It is that sparkle in the top page that can help you create new business plans within Google Docs, or new proposals as well, without having to leave your Google documents, which I think is a huge benefit, especially if you have a workspace account that you should be using, so you don't have to copy and paste back and forth. But for many of you, what you might not know about is Workspace Studio. And if you want to follow along, go to studio.workspace.google.com. And you might have to set it up if you haven't. But once you're set it up, what's really cool is that you see these, it has a double arrow logo. It also lives within your Google Drive here, which I'll show you in a second if you can't find it or locate it. Enna, are you set up with Workspace Studio yet?
I am confirming that right now.
Awesome. So let me know, follow along as you do through. But first, I do want you to take a look and let me know what you think, because we'd love to use your examples. Here, essentially, if you use any integration mechanism, it all starts with a trigger, right? And then a series of steps that you can automate. In this case, Workspace Studio, again, only works within Google Apps. So Google Forms, Gmail, Google Docs, etc. And so this could help you automate some things there. If you don't know where to start, you actually get these flows that are already been designed by Google. So something that I already have set up with emails is to help me reply to my emails. Because if I have an inbox of 70, I want to make sure that Gemini can start answering for me. Again, it's not where it could send it without our consent. You still have to go into your draft and send it. So let me show you how that works. Here throughout the session, you'll see an example of what we call a prompt library. You should be saving your best prompts, so you're not always having to rewrite a prompt into your Gemini. And this is also ways that you can, if you hear from a colleague or a fellow small business owner that gave you an amazing prompt to help you with sales, you can keep it in your prompt library. But I'll talk more about that in a minute. First, we want to create a flow to help me have replies to my email. So Gemini can actually help you, so you don't have to do that from scratch. So I typed in here, triage and draft replies to my high quality emails. So let's go in here and you'll see what that flow looks like and how you can set it up. You also can do it yourself without asking Gemini to create the flow for you, which I'll also show you in a second. But this is what's called a flow, right? And this one I'm asking, I have a need, I want to help with replies to my emails. You can select if you want it to be all emails or specific emails. So for example, if you have a boss or manager, or if you have important clients, you will want to click them here about, or if you just want your teammate. So this is one of my teammates here, one of my co-founders, I can click that, especially I want to be alerted. But for me, I set it up for all emails. And then you have here, you can click specifics on when you want it to act. You're telling Gemini. So I want you to make decisions of this is an important email if it contains this subject line or this email body. So you can add variables on the type of email. Again, I say, hey, Gemini, help me with everything, because I just need help getting through my inbox, and help me draft a reply. And essentially, you can turn these on. You can do test runs before you have the flow go live. But now when you go into the inbox, you're able to see replies for every email. The magic of Google, it is connected, right? So if you use Gmail for your email, external emails, it knows you better. So it knows how to respond. It has context on your calendar. Again, some people get worried about that. You can turn it on and off, and I can show you how to do that as well. I have it on. I just need help answering to my emails. I feel comfortable, but you got to decide your own comfort. And you can build as many of these automations as you want. And any questions so far, especially because I know you had some questions around email organization.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the biggest part here is how do you know that the responses that are being written back to an email represents you, right? That's the part that I struggle with the most, because I would love for it to just respond to all of my emails, but I'm like, I feel like I have a special touch. And so I'm always like, no, I can't let AI respond for me. I need to do my own responses. And it takes up a lot of my time. So how do you combat that?
Yeah. So for me, I use it as a way to get rid, as you know, that the email pressure and the stress. I'm like, oh my God, I have so much in my inbox. So I use it almost as a rough draft. Okay. And it takes a minute to learn my voice. Sometimes to get it really right. Like, honestly, sometimes I'm like, wow, this email is 98% done. I just need to switch this word, but it got me right because it's learning more as it goes along. And sometimes I'm like, no, this is not me. I want it to be more personal, but it helped me with like 50% there. An email that would have, because sometimes it's embarrassing to admit how much time emails take us. But imagine if that pressure and stress of where to start goes away because you have Gemini help you. But then, yes, we definitely recommend to keep the human into it. Edit your emails, and then that's why it's not an automatic send, right? You have to send it out. So try it out. The good thing about these flows, you can turn it on and off. So definitely you're not stuck by it. It's an experiment. I know, Enna, you had another thought about capturing leads as well. And before I go back, Workspace Studios can help with that. I would say that you might have to use Sheets or Google Form, because again, Studio can only help you the more you use Google's products. I also will show examples where it doesn't rely on that. This is for Workspace Studio. So actually, it can help you if it recognizes someone filled out one of your Google Forms in your website, interested in a call, or one of your sheets have been added with a new row or column with a new customer. It can help you reach out, have a reply to book a meeting. So these are other potential flows that you can create through Workspace Studio, which is really cool.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that I need to build out, because I do use the Google form, but then I go in every single time, to check to see, has this person scheduled a meeting with me?
Awesome. And so let me go here. You would just have to click that form. Let me do this one. And it's just a sample form, let's say even for a dinner. But in this case, you want to capture leads. It's easy as clicking your forms, because Google Forms is connected. So that's the magic. If it's all in the same account, then you ask Gemini. You can edit the prompt again that you want it. Here's a template, or it says, hey, draft a professional welcoming reply email to a potential client and lead who just submitted a form. You can go even deeper on the persona because you want to add more of you. This is where you can do it in the Ask Gemini, and you can add other variables that you wanted to consider as it relates to that form. You can even turn off, if you wanted this automation to search for best practices on the web, or if it's just your own workspace. So you have a lot of agencies in how you want to create these flows, and then it helps draft emails. Again, you still have to click send. These are not anything that would do super automatic. You're still in control. So this is a good way to get comfortable, but it will just save you a lot of time in the setup and the automation. Like once you know someone new has replied, has filled your form, you can now already have a draft ready to go to send timely to a prospective client. So here, because I have this form, if your form has the variables here, you can click to send it. With the form I sent, it doesn't have that variable. So you also would know when your flow is not ready to go, it's red, or it will not let you. So it's very user friendly, and you would have to play around. If there's missing information, the flow is not gonna work. So and I'm gonna follow up with you, and I'm gonna help you set these up, but I wanted you to see it live because there's maybe a couple of Workspace Studio flows that you can have set up that's gonna make your life a lot easier. And again, for those that have watching, I started with this because Enna has a pay Workspace account. This one, you do need a pay subscription, but it's a tool that everybody has to know that might be underutilized. Set up your flows through Studio so you can really have some nice automations. And again, you can create your own flow by going here. You can go and ask the flow for Gemini, or there's tons of examples. One that I have is like these everyday essentials. Send me like a daily news brief, and I get that in the chat, and I'm pretty updated. I get a recap of my most urgent emails. It's been really useful to me. But now let's keep going because I want to make sure we get to other resources. When it comes to getting organized, I also love Gemini Live. Again, access Google via your phone is a free app. Now, everything I share with you is you can use with a personal Gmail. Workspace Studio, pay account. Now we're moving into all the free stuff that you can add. Something I do, I'm on the go in New York. I'm in between meetings. So I go into Gemini Live because my business partners might be busy. I want to debrief. I want to set myself up for the day. So let's say I meet a client who's asking me to write a proposal for the next day. I can go into Gemini and say, hey, help me get organized. Let me try it on with y'all. And Enna, this is something you could do because you're also on the go. And a lot of it is in our mind. But since you use Google, you can go here. Hi, Gemini. I just met with an exciting client. They want a proposal for tomorrow. Can you help me block out my morning, put it in my calendar to write out this proposal?
I'll help you block out time for that proposal. What time tomorrow morning works best for you to focus on writing it?
Let's go for 9 a.m. and let's do a 2-hour block.
I've scheduled a 2-hour block on your calendar for tomorrow to write the client proposal, starting at 9 a.m. and ending at 11 a.m.
Thank you so much, Gemini. Que estoy muy nerviosa. En verdad necesito este cliente bien importante y también quiero tu ayuda con la estrategia y con el pricing para poner una buena propuesta para el cliente.
Entiendo perfectamente esos nervios. Son completamente normales cuando hay tanto en juego. Vamos a armar una propuesta sólida juntos. Cuéntame un poco más.
I love it because when I go nervous, I go into Spanglish mode. So it knows me in both languages. So use Gemini Live if you haven't. But again, the cool part is not just a conversation like it mirrors like you're talking to a business mentor, but it's the fact that that block is already scheduled in my calendar. I feel assured that it's connected to my Google Calendar, and I'm going to focus on it and deliver it to that client on time. So it's a very good organizational tip to use on the go. So definitely check out Gemini Live. So I promise.
I know we're probably running out of time, but one quick question. Well, if you wanted to schedule that meeting and invite someone else, would it have also invited someone else into that meeting?
Ooh, I haven't tried it because usually I use it to remind me to do blocks like focus work. So let me get back to everybody on that capability. I think I don't want to say my assumption is no. You might have to add that part. You might have to add the guest to that invite he has created afterwards. But yeah, let me get back to you on that. Awesome. So with prompting, as you saw, this is more on the go. With Workspace Studio, we did it really quick. But again, to get the best out of whether it's automation and a Gemini Live conversation, you got to talk to it by giving as much context as possible. Like when you go to a hairstylist, you show a picture of your haircut. You're like, this length. You're very specific about the color because no one wants a really bad hairstyle. The same thing when you go to nails. It's a lot of money, y'all. You want to make sure you're getting the right color. You show a mood board, Pinterest. The same way you got to think about it with AI. They're still modeling human experts. So you got to talk to it like an expert, or like when you were managing human teams, you got to manage AI as well. It's not hands off. You're now a manager of a digital tool. So Google has this amazing framework. It's 5 steps. You start with a task, say exactly what you want to do. Help me with this proposal. Give it a persona as part of that task. That's a step a lot of us skip. So let's say a hairstylist is a persona. If you want to do your hair, you go to a hairstylist. If I want to do my finance, my accounting, I'm going to go to a finance professional or an accountant, a tax professional. So you got to tell Gemini exactly. Again, Google Gemini is built on a family of large language models, a ton of data. So you want to point it exactly where you want to go. If not, it's going to go into his whole wide suite of amazing data. But hey, you don't need all of that. You need the persona that's relevant to your task. If you need help with a marketing brochure, you need an expert marketer. So you wanted to say, hey, Gemini, act as an expert marketer to help me do this. And then go into the context. Tell it, hey, here's my budget. Here's a timeline that I have. Here's a step-by-step process that I usually provide. So again, if you were managing an intern or a new entry-level professional, you would be really specific with a context. The same thing with AI. Another spot that folks skip is both the format. So again, sometimes you just need an email. Sometimes it's a PDF. Sometimes it's a bulleted list. You got to tell it what you want. If not, you're going to do a lot of back and forth. And then give it references. If there's already previous emails that you like, attach them to a document of all the previous emails that you like, or social media. If you're doing, show the ones that you had the most success with. So it's not starting from scratch. And again, that's a way to make it multimodal. It's not just a chatbot. You're attaching all these visual examples or other documents that you already have. And again, we're all new to this. Step 4 and 5 is just a lot of evaluating, iterating. We're not expecting to have the perfect prompt right away. If now you're not getting the best output, most likely is because you just need some practice until you land into that really good prompt. So that would be my advice. If you all need help with prompting, reach out. This is the framework Google recommends that could be really helpful. And I guarantee you're going to start getting more and more and more results. But it's going to take some time to revisit this framework, iterate. Sometimes, again, we start with a really huge prompt, separate it into shorter prompts. If you were working with humans, I always say it's like IKEA instructions. They give you step 1, step 2. They're really specific, but try to get one part of the work done. Then the second part, AI can, just like humans, is best sometimes if you do it in pieces. That's called prompt chaining. And then the last thing I'll say related to that is introduce constraints and limitations. You're in the driving theme. That's the theme. Again, you're the one setting your SMARTY goals. As Coach Dora says, you have the goal in mind. So tell it, hey, don't use these industry buzzwords. Do not use those M dashes, those bullet points. Make it right like you so it works for you. Awesome. We don't have a lot of time, so I just want to go into Gemini and show you this cool feature called gems. Gems are essentially custom AI assistants that you can create in 5 easy steps. So Enna, for you, what I was thinking about, you can create a customer support agent, because you might set up the automation where it helps you create replies. But let's say you want emails to really respond like you in your voice. Your other option would be to create a gem. So for example, I'm going to put some example emails that I've gotten right here. And you simply would copy that email you get, and then the gem will give you something in your voice that you can copy and paste. Why? Because you baked it in with your own knowledge and source of truth in the backend, which I will show you. So this is a response, said I got an email from Marcus, and this is how it's telling me to respond. You see sources is from my own FAQ that I provided for this agent. So let me actually go behind the scenes. And again, if you don't have your gem set up, go into settings right here and click on gems, and it will start to show on your left bar. And then it will leave there in your Gemini. Okay, let's go to the edit button so you can see how it starts. And you give it a name. If you want somebody to help you respond to emails, you can be as fun. I have a friend that names it like actual human people. I'm very literal. It's like, this is my customer support agent. It's going to help me reply to frequently asked questions. And then you give instructions to those gems. Again, this is a long one. It can be intimidated. It's using that same framework I just went over in terms of starting with the task, the persona. And so Google helps you if you forget. This is the framework right here. But guess what? Gemini can also help you create instructions for these gems. So you can go into here, your chat, and say, hi, I want to create a new gem to help me respond to emails, create the instructions. And then obviously give it more details than I want to now in terms of your persona, how you respond to emails, but it'll give you something that then you can copy and paste into your gem. So you're not alone in that process. It's very super, super easy. So here is something that then I would copy and paste. And that's why you see the long prompt that's already in my assistant. And then what's really cool is that you can add your own source of knowledge. So over here, for example, I added an FAQ that I created of the common questions that I get. So Enna, you can do that for yourself. If you don't have an FAQ, ask Gemini to create it. It does take some time to set up, right? But imagine the magic of it. It now knows you. It knows the frequent questions that you ask and how you answer them. And you can actually add it as your knowledge base. Very easy, because you can add Google Docs, things that are created, files with your own knowledge. And this agent is acting with those sources in mind, right? So it's truly, truly personalized. Here, you add a tool if, for example, you're creating an agent for social media. You can add default tools that this agent is helping you, or this gems, as Google call it, create images. Canvas is another one. We won't have time today, but for example, my proposal gem uses Canvas because it creates documents. Or you can have no default tool if you just need it to help with emails. Have you set up one of these gems before?
I have not, but I am.
You have to. And I hope everyone watching, do you see how easy? 5 steps?
Yes, this is super easy. And I think you're excellent at helping us learning how to do this. So thank you, Yukendi.
Thank you. And I have one again for proposal, for marketing copy. You can share it with people, just like a Google Doc. So it's super, super cool. I have one with my team. This is my personal Gmail, but one in my personal team with the weekly accountability gem. So we say, hey, how many emails, how many proposals did you write this week? And we can share team weekly reports. So gems are super helpful, especially if you're using it across the Google ecosystem. So we ran out of time. I didn't get to Notebook today, but good news, I'm hosting another session tomorrow with another powerful Dominican. So tune in. And in case you can't make it tomorrow or future sessions, as I recommended, go to youtube.com/growwithgoogle. You can also go to grow.google/certificates. I'll put these resources in the comments. And if you want more help on prompting and AI essentials, we have all these courses in Coursera for small business owners. Go to these sites as well. Again, take your time, keep learning. Let's share the knowledge. And I appreciate you all for tuning in today. I'm going to say thank you again for Enna for having me and just sharing space and you just showing as a leader how you're a continuous learner just by staying in this session and learning. I bet there's other tools you use, and what we say, just continue to experiment all the tools and decide what you want to add to your toolkit. And I'm gonna say bye to you. I'm just staying on the chat
Thank
to see if
you.
there's an urgent question. But if I didn't get to your question, believe me, I'll be in the comments.
Thank you, Candy. Thank you so much. This was awesome. And I know the audience is going to take away so much and they're going to be able to learn a lot from you as our Google coach. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Lynette, the bilingual aspect, we speak in all the languages, sharing that immigrant culture. I dream about my businesses in all the language. And sometimes I want to talk to my Gemini in that way. So definitely don't, utilize that to your advantage, whatever language you speak. Thank you, Angie. Love everyone pitching in the chat. Madeline, I appreciated your comments. And Carol, always good to see you in community. The Kelotech community is in the house. And then Dylan, I use Gemini to intake my podcast episodes and output a multi-platform suite of communications. Dylan, I love that example. I want to feature you in one of our impact stories. Google always want to hear how y'all using it. So I'm going to be definitely reaching out. Thank you, everybody. And I'll see you. Hopefully join me tomorrow for another live stream.